I'm currently based in Barranquilla.
Sorry?
Barranquilla, Colombia.
Okay,
Barranquilla.
okay, and you're Colombian?
Yeah, Where?
Are you Colombian?
Pardon?
Are you from Colombia?
Yeah, I'm Colombian. Well, I'm originally born in Colombia and moved to somewhere and returned to back.
So immediately you can see that our friend Sophia, okay, she's already she didn't even have to use any Jedi mind trickery here. All she had to do was ping location. Hey man, are you from Colombia? And of course our friend here, Jesus, or I don't know, insert random Korean name, probably isn't from there. And she's laughing, we're laughing. He is not laughing because he failed this basic check right over here. So obviously at this moment in time,
apparently Japan, there's been a lot of censorship that's been happening. I think that we all know this, is that there's been censorship that's been affecting anime and manga. And obviously, you know, this has gone on now for probably like at least 5 years. But you're starting to see Japanese people starting to become cognizant of it, seeing their media change as a result of it trying to appeal to overseas viewers or more likely overseas Twitter users, etc. And so finally, it looks like Japan is banning that type of censorship. So I'm very, very glad to see this, and I think everybody should be. No, I do not want some annoying Karen on social media telling me what anime I'm allowed to watch. Absolutely fucking not.
At long last, I can be the bearer of good news instead of bad news.
Imagine
like, oh
that.
my goodness, man. It's been too long. I'm always delivering bad news after bad news after bad news. But here we go. We actually got something I could talk about that, you know, will bring people a smile.
Okay, let's see it.
No interference in creative works. Japanese government proposes new policy for anime and game expansion in the West. This
No policy for game expansion in the West. Thank God. No interference in creative works. It's so obvious. It's so reasonable. Thank fucking God. And I think that's the Freerun Starforge PC too.
is huge. This literally just came out today. This is literally breaking news. It was by the Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry proposes new policy guidelines for the Japanese content and anime industries. Very, very good.
Could this be related to the Square layoffs? I think that there is a sentiment in Japan. This is, I don't live in Japan, I don't speak Japanese, but this is so, I'm only looking at what's translated, and I don't have like, you know, like a unique insight to this. But it seems to me that there is a growing sentiment that's happening in Japan where people in Japan are upset that Americans are both consuming Japanese culture and also, in another way, consuming Japanese culture, where they're trying to edit out, push away, and try to, you know, rough off the, you know, the rough edges of Japanese culture that they find to be abrasive. And I think that that's earned a lot of resentment from the Japanese people. That's what I think has happened. Trying to appropriate it, yes.
So let's just get right
like
into it.
literally
Let's just
cultural
read this
appropriation.
article. This October, the Japanese Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry held its 8th Entertainment and Creative Industrial Policy Seminar, during which it proposed 5 key principles of its new policy guidelines for the Japanese content industry, including video games, anime, manga, film, and music.
Of course.
As reported by Otaku Soken, the new guidelines have been announced as part of the strategy to achieve the government's goal of expanding the overseas market size for domestic content to 20 trillion yen by 2033. This comes only a month after the Japanese Business Federation, Keidan Ren, issued an urgent message calling on the government to provide immediate, large-scale, and long-term support for the country's content industry. The 5 key principles of the entertainment and creative industries policy are listed as follows. Number 1, large-scale, long-term strategic support.
Smart.
Support efforts to spread Japan-made content to the world.
Yeah, this is how you have soft power. You know, like the USAID, where we get to do trans Sesame Street plays in Iran. I don't think that's how you have soft power. Soft power is Freerun, not transsexual Sesame Street.
interference in the content
I'm just
of
saying.
creative works. That's the big one.
Soft
Provide
power is
direct
Black Myth
support.
Wukong.
Prioritize those willing to take a challenge. In light of recent events, especially aggressive content restrictions and global pressure from payment processor
Yep.
firms, the third principle of the policy has been attracting attention in particular. As explained by Meti, the government's goal is to invest in IPs, human resources, and digital technology. technologies, as well as support international distribution networks and overseas investments into building fandoms.
Yep.
Consequently, the third principle was suggested to reassure creators that their freedom of expression will be protected.
That's the big
and that
one.
Government backings does not imply that the content of their work will be meddled with in any way. Huge W.
Yeah.
Like, just straight up huge Japan W. Like, big W right here. Big W for the Japanese government. Big W for anime creators.
I think it's people are just, this is a win for anybody who doesn't want to have things edited by people that don't care about the media. Because fundamentally what you have are people that are coming into a space that they're not really part of, and they're trying to edit, change, and manipulate that space to make that space congruent with their worldview. And I think that just generally, there's a lot of resentment for that. I don't think people want that. That's not something that like an average person is saying, oh, please censor me more. Please change this, make this different. No interference in the content of creative works means what exactly? It means that in the process, I'm assuming, and in the process of localizing things like this in Japan over to the United States, that you're not going to have, censorship of certain topics or certain types of sexuality, for example. Basically, like, they don't get to censor things because it's problematic in one way or another. I mean, that's what I'm guessing.
Manga creators, for artists in general in Japan, this is a huge W for freedom of expression, creativity
People do what they
within
want.
Japan.
Yeah.
Because obviously when government starts to get involved with things, there's always this worry of like barriers to block you from doing certain things or stop you from being free or doing what you want. And the fact that the government is reassuring creators that you, just because it will be government backed, does not mean we will interfere or stop you or meddle with your work is amazing. They legitimately want no interference in the content of creative works.
Like, this is a pretty good example, right? Is like a lot of people in the West complained about fan service. And for people that don't know, fan service is basically just gratuitous sexuality that's added into the story just for the sake of gratuitous sexuality, right? That's basically fan service. And it's like, my solution to that is very simple. If you don't like anime with fan service, don't watch it. Period. Don't watch it. There you go. Problem solved. It's literally that simple.
Basically, to not force anime and manga to censor itself.
So this apply to those fucking English VAs that'll purposely change lines to push an agenda? No, it won't, because they probably already fired because they got replaced by AI. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you don't need to worry about them.
Expand overseas.
But it should, yes,
that is
theoretically.
This is probably some of the best news we could have gotten as of late, especially for just what we have seen continuously.
Yeah.
We have definitely seen the uptick of just like this continuous rampant censorship on Japanese content.
True.
That's not including other
Very
areas
true.
around the world, obviously. There's a lot of other stuff I could speak about. But what I'm saying is we have definitely seen a lot of Japanese content get censored.
Well, I think the reason why is that a lot of Japanese companies are now prioritizing international audiences over their own audiences. And I think that's probably creating a lot of resentment within the Japanese culture and inside of Japan, because they feel like now, because of the larger economies of overseas audiences, that their media is being changed in order to accommodate
This 19-year-old TikTok and Instagram creator filmed himself treating real life like Grand Theft Auto for clout, and now got sentenced to 10 years in Texas prison. This might be one of the greatest examples of snitching on yourself for clout, and it's safe to say he found out, because today we're talking about a teenager who spent months of his life filming high-speed chases, posting them to Instagram and TikTok, taunting officers, bragging about outrunning patrol cars, and then getting caught because, shockingly, the internet is not some private diary. The police have the same social media apps as you do. Who would have thought? As of right now, both his TikTok and Instagram are completely wiped clean, not because he suddenly discovered right and wrong, but because his lawyers saw the videos and realized, oh, Tim is his own star witness against himself. That's bad. Let's delete all of that. But unfortunately, it was too late when everything got scrubbed.
19-year-old Kendall County man took deputies and Bernie police on several high-speed chases. This happened over a period of months. Now he's having to answer for it.
Yeah, Ken's Fives. Earl Stanimir joining us live now. Earl, just how long will this man spend behind bars? And also, do we know why he did all this?
Good morning, Audrey Berry. 19 19-year-old Timothy Fogel is going to have to serve a 10-year prison sentence. And one thing we know about him is that he did everything for attention. We were told that he had an Instagram account where he would post the high-speed chases online while taunting law enforcement.
So today's new entry of the Moron Hall of Fame is 19-year-old Timothy Vitaly Fogel, a guy who spent months driving his black BMW with no license plate through Kendall and Bexar counties while recording every second. And he uploaded all this footage to his social media accounts under the handle of Slow530i, a name that ironically aged pretty poorly because nothing in the story is slow except for the thought process behind it and potentially his car as well if you compare it to anything else that's semi-fast. But he posted a whole bunch of videos showing him weaving through traffic, racing down the highway at more than 100 miles an hour, and bragging the police could not catch him. And it's just shocking because this is not a flex. The Hyundai Elantra I used to have, I could easily push 130 in it if I was dumb enough. It would take 2 business days to get up there, but still, you can do 100+ mile an hour runs in normal cars. That's not a crazy flex. You're just a complete moron for doing so because, surprise, surprise, you're putting everyone's lives at risk, including your own. But also, I mean, you can easily get jailed. If you're on a track, have fun. If you're on a public road, you have to share the road, unfortunately. That's just life. And I think we would all prefer if our lives weren't cut short by some moron in a BMW 530i thinking he's f***ing cool. But to make things worse, he kept going to social media to brag about how the cops could never catch him. Like, with lines like, he tried but failed, and obviously he hid behind this is all AI fake footage, which I guess he placed there for some sort of deniability. But honestly, what kind of makes this funnier is this isn't the first time we've covered a genius who thinks captions like that actually help them. Because a few months ago, I covered a YouTuber by the name of Bryce Bennett, who hit 192 miles an hour on public highways and tried to avoid trouble by saying, oh, this was all in Mexico. But unfortunately, Bryce was blasting past Hartford roadsides at 190 like the cops just can't read. And now we have Fogel, who basically did the same thing, but instead of filmed in Mexico, he went with the 2024/2025 upgrade, claiming the videos were AI fake footage, which, again, isn't even original, because that's exactly what the whole Squeeze Ben's crew did under their videos, and Squeeze, he ended up getting arrested and he spent close to a year in jail. But also, after watching this case, I'm starting to realize that idiots like this are just going to use AI fake footage and expect the judge to believe it. And we're not even in the full-on AI dystopia yet, and people are already practicing their "it wasn't me, it was the algorithm" speeches. So this will get interesting pretty quickly. But in this case, the first chase happened on April 30th. A Bourne police officer by the name of Eric De La Rosa was sitting in his patrol car on an I-10 frontage road when the same BMW with no plates pulled up behind him. When the officer turned to investigate, Fogel flipped him off, hit the gas, and launched a chase that stretched into the next county before officers called it off. But then, hours later on social media, the video magically appeared on Instagram with a caption basically saying, "Nice try, cop." And then 2 weeks later, police were conducting a traffic stop standing on the shoulder, talking to a driver they pulled over. And then suddenly the same BMW blasted past them at 142 miles an hour. Not once, but twice. He then posted those videos as well with the caption, "Little flyby for the cops." And then of course, one camera posted those videos as well with the caption, "Little flyby for the cops." And then of course, one camera pointed at the dashboard. But obviously he's fine because he wrote AI fake footage in the comments below. Or well, unfortunately for him, police dash cams, timestamps, phone records, and officers all exist as well. But at late May, it got even worse because a Kendall County deputy was working at a crash scene when Fogel came flying by at highway closing speed. Another officer tried to stop him and hit a top speed of 118 miles an hour before the pursuit had to stop. And then here's the part where a lot of people might not realize, because the reason Fogel kept getting away wasn't because he was some kind of racing prodigy or had an extremely fast car, because he had a 530i. Police actually had to stop the high-speed pursuits once they hit certain speeds. When a chase gets into the triple digits, especially near traffic or neighborhoods, it becomes a liability. So if a cop keeps pushing 130 miles an hour after the suspect, they're not just chasing one reckless driver, they're essentially just risking innocent people on the road. Because let's be real, this isn't Arkansas or Georgia where they'll just go guns blazing no matter what. I think Mississippi also does that. They don't try to outrun anyone in Georgia, Arkansas, or Mississippi, because you will find out. Even though this guy also found out, but just not in the most brutal way. If you do it in one of the 3 states I mentioned, you probably won't walk away. Because let's be real, those 3 states will chase you down like it's some scene from the Dukes of Hazzard. But I digress. So each time he crossed into Bexar County or blew past 120, officers had to call it off for safety. He wasn't some mastermind, the cops were just following procedure. So then he uploaded the next entry to, I guess, the Moron Hall of Fame. And of course, he captioned it, "Sheriffs don't do nothing again." And then he followed that with a sequel titled, Part 2 of Outrunning the Sheriff. Awesome, buddy. I get that we all do some incredibly stupid stuff before that prefrontal cortex loads in, but you would prefer not to get locked up until that thing is fully loaded in, before you get it, right? Freedom is pretty nice. But on June 22nd, Officer De La Rosa spotted the same BMW again. Still no plates, driving like the world was his personal racetrack, and then suddenly, the officer turned his lights on and Fogel took off down Main Street at more than 100 miles an hour. He weaved through traffic, jumped into an oncoming lane, and nearly crashed into a police cruiser. Officers then tried to spike strip him, but then that unfortunately failed and he got away. And of course, a whole paragraph started showing up on social media of him bragging about how slow the police are. In quote, he wrote, 20 or more cops still fail, and how they suck at spiking. That just showed up on his social media accounts. So when you keep pushing your luck like that time and time again, the only place that's gonna land you is either in prison or not with us on planet Earth anymore. And honestly, if this ended here, he might have actually still been free, but police spotted him on the 4th of July, parked outside of a convenience store. Officers then walked up, asked questions, and noticed the car matched everything they saw online. The same interior, the same lighting, the same camera mounts, and even the novelty license plate that was titled, "Will Run." Imagine getting pulled over with a license plate that literally confesses. Come on. Like, obviously it's kind of a funny plate, but like, bro, what are you doing here? So this leads to him being detained, and then the police seized the footage from his dash cam. And once they got that footage, it was essentially game over because digital forensics confirmed everything. His Instagram account was registered to his phone number, his date of birth, and his email account. And also it was being accessed from his home Wi-Fi during the exact times the videos were being uploaded. They even had surveillance of him driving home after one of the pursuits, wearing the same clothes seen in the dashcam recordings. I mean, I just know the county police felt very good releasing this statement. Because let's be real, they finally caught some dude who was LARPing as a Need for Speed character, antagonizing them for months. And as I mentioned earlier, I mean, the fact that he was bold enough to do all of this in a 530i as well, that is wild, as the police charges are definitely faster than it. Because normally, you see people running away on like sports bikes because, you know, they're basically uncatchable unless the police decide, hey, we're gonna end this biker's life to stop him. That's the only way they really stop those guys, or if they willingly surrender or run out of gas. So normally, those are the people you see running away from cops. But pushing your luck in a 4-cylinder dad sedan, those things are literally designed to bring accountants to work and home again, not LARP as Paul Walker in them. But wait, it's not over yet, because here is when his lawyer finally enters like a firefighter arriving at a building that is already burned to the ground, because Fogel suddenly wiped all the videos, deleted all the posts, and tried to erase his entire digital footprint. Unfortunately, though, the investigators had already downloaded everything, so he ended up pleading guilty to felony evading arrest and reckless driving. I saw a good amount of headlines actually pop up saying he was sentenced to 10 years. He was, that's true. The judge sentenced him to 10 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, hence the title of this video. So on paper, he got 10 years in prison. But, there's a but, because normally these things happen. The court then suspended the actual prison time and gave him 6 years of probation instead, which means one violation, like one speeding ticket or one failed drug test, one moment where he forgets that he's driving into oncoming traffic. Hopefully he doesn't do that again. He will then have to serve the full 10 years behind bars again. So essentially, it's basically a probated sentence as of right now. Like a listen real carefully or else kind of sentence. And during these 6 years, he's going to have to wear a GPS ankle monitor that tracks his speed and location, take a defensive driving course, do a community service, pass a random drug and alcohol test, hand his phone over to probation anytime they ask, and also allow them to access his social media accounts. So essentially, he just got super grounded, except by the judge instead of his parents. And he also has to write a formal apology letter to every officer he endangered, and I guess the real chef's kiss is write a personal apology letter to his parents and pay them back for every single dollar they spent on his legal fees, which is something I haven't heard of ever before, but hey, apparently that exists as well. Legally requiring someone to apologize to their mom is definitely new. So yeah, Tim wanted clout, but instead he got a government-issued ankle bracelet. And also a 10-year prison sentence, but then I guess the judge decided to be lenient and gave him something else after that instead. But other than that, I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.
That's what I think is happening.
And the fact that Japan has obviously been aware of this for years now, it has been an ongoing issue that has been
Which makes sense.
escalating.
I'd feel
over
that way
time,
too.
And I think it finally just escalated to a point where it no longer could be ignored. You have Japanese officials in the government that were even elected that one of their core principles and things they fight for is freedom of expression. And I am really happy to see that with the new leadership in charge, because there was recent elections in Japan, you can see that there is definitely some massive changes going on, that there is definitely a fight for creative expression and freedom within Japan, because it's big. I mean, I made a video like 2 days ago talking about how Japanese is like, entertainment industry is like its biggest moneymaker. It's bigger than anything else from Japan. And so it makes sense that Japan would want to expand it even more to make more money as a country, but also to protect it for it doesn't get interfered with or distorted.
Well, it's also that the people that are trying to change it are oftentimes not the people that are actually the consumers. And this is another really big issue, is that basically a lot of the pressures to change Japanese media comes from people that are not necessarily consumers of Japanese media. This is coming from a payment processor, or it's coming from an HR department at a company. So really, and you think about it, right? If you're changing content that's Japanese in order to make it more Americanized, like, yeah, obviously you want to have subtitles, etc. But people are looking to consume content that comes from Japan because it's content that comes from Japan partially, right? Obviously the quality of the stories is good, but on top of that, I think that people like the idea of, you know, going after and looking for content that comes from another culture. I think it's something that's very interesting. It's gross. Yeah, I mean, there it is. And Australian Karens, yes, exactly. It's Japanese, yeah. At the end of the day, if you don't like it, then either make it illegal or deal with it.
Destroyed by rivaling companies or countries or whatever. They don't want to see stuff like that happen. So this is just fantastic news. It's a big freaking W, hands down. There is literally
great.
no negatives about this whatsoever. But let's continue reading. Furthermore, Clause 4 of the policy proposal suggests that there will be more transparency behind the support process, meaning less reliance on intermediate companies and more of the support directly reaching those involved in the creation and popularization of content.
Just removing middlemen. That's obviously a good thing.
As for the reasons behind the new policy proposal, Meti cites merger results in its previous efforts to expand the overseas market size for domestic-produced content. While some of the measures did show results, Meti suggests that they were still at a low level compared to other countries like South Korea. The ministry commented they weren't able to expand the stock of tangible/intangible assets and raise labor productivity and wages to a satisfactory level.
Yeah, sure.
And are hoping that the new policy helps Japanese-produced content conquer the world. So, more or less from what my understanding is that they
People
are
love
in
anime.
direct competition right now with like South Korea and even China when it comes to like the animation department and entertainment and stuff that's coming overseas. And obviously they want to make it to where it's more lucrative for people in Japan to work with Japan instead of work with these other countries and make more business with Japan. That's at least my understanding. Maybe I'm misunderstanding this and I'm stupid. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But regardless, overall, Japan is taking a massive step in trying to protect its actual creators, the people that drive its industry. I mean, once again, I want to point out that the entertainment industry in Japan is so massive. It's like one of its big leading moneymakers.
Well, it's obvious. I mean, obviously, like everybody watches anime in the whole world, right? I mean, like, isn't like one of the Saudi Arabian princes, isn't like one of his profile pictures an anime girl? I mean, like, what are we talking about? Like, it's a worldwide phenomenon. People love it. So, yeah, obviously Japan, like, their entertainment and their media is a huge export. The same as American media and entertainment is. Absolutely.
The entire country.
Just the way it is.
So it would make sense that there is laws on the
Osama
ground.
bin Laden watched One Piece? Yeah, that's right. Osama bin Laden liked anime. I forgot about that.
On floor to try to protect their industry. It's just
that says a lot.
Common sense. It makes complete sense. It's nothing that seems like, ludicrous or fantasy.
Yeah. No, I'm being serious.
It makes sense. And the fact that you have politicians that recently got elected that I've even talked about on this channel about the situation, obviously, it makes sense why, them being elected, they would fight for something like this. It's just, I'm very happy, man. I'm glad I could share this good news, dude. This makes me so happy to see an article like this. Now, I do want to make sure I state this, though. From my understanding, this law is not passed. It's a policy that has been proposed. I
would expect that.
I'm assuming it needs to be voted on to some degree. I don't know exactly how the whole policy structure in Japan works. I'm not going to act like I do.
Not a surprise.
American. I'm not going to act like I understand all the politics of Japan. That is ignorant of me to do.
Who the fuck knows?
However, I'm assuming that judging by the wording and stuff, it is a policy that's been introduced thanks to the new change in hands in the government with the new elections and stuff like that. And now it's going to be getting voted on. And I'm assuming with just how much support has been behind protecting creators and how vocal a lot of these politicians have been in Japan as of late, I'm going to assume it's going to pass. That's my educated guess. I mean, you have one of the biggest people that are leading Japan's economy right now that is a straight up like weeb. Like I believe there is literally like one of Japan's like ministers. She is a weeb. Like she loves 2D over 3D. Like I might show a picture on screen to prove it. But basically, it's very obvious these new politicians or politicians that are in control of Japan right now. They love anime. They love manga. They want to protect it. That's good news. That's good enough for me. I'll leave it at that though. Thank you so much for watching. May all of you have a fantastic day or night wherever you live. Be safe. Stay healthy. Leave a comment to help with the algorithm. Chibi out.
Well, some stories do have a good ending. Thank God. I'm very glad they're doing this. I think they needed to do this a long time ago. And I'm glad that it's finally happening because you have payment processors, and again, the payment processors will bend to the law. They always do and they always will because they don't want to lose the money. So obviously they'll try to push whatever agenda they have, but whenever very big economies like Japanese economies just say, oh yeah, we're not going to be okay with this, well then they say, oh okay, never mind, we'll do exactly what you want. So that's really what I think is going to happen. They need to make this a law immediately? Yeah, I guess so. Senator Takashi Prime is a minister of Japan. Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of, I know the prime minister was like a more right-wing, like Japanese nationalist, which is like kind of what I would expect from somebody in Japan. But yeah, I saw this a few days ago. I did want to watch it. I never really got around to it. But I did want to show you guys this. I think it's a huge fucking W. It is amazing. Good on them for stopping culture rot. That's right. That is exactly what it is. It is intentional, basically culture rot. That's what it is. It's culture rot. And it's a rot that's created by an external force that has no business doing that. They're not invested in the product. They're not invested in the media. They are just simply trying to make as much money out of it as possible. And I think that is an amazing thing. I am very, very, very happy. So this is a huge W. I'm glad, and I hope that, you know, now we'll probably see less anime censored and less video games censored as well. More like a virus spreading? Yes, it's the same rot that affects game studios. Exactly. It is the Karen rot that we have. But that's it. What's the external force? Karens? Yeah, it's Karens and busybodies that are trying to tell everybody else what to do and how to think. So that's generally what it is. You playing Dispatch today? No, I'm probably going to take a break and chill out, do some other stuff, but I'll probably be back on tomorrow and maybe do some stuff back then too. I don't know exactly what my plans are for tomorrow, but I'm going to take a break, relax for a little bit, and I'll be back on tomorrow. We're going to do some other stuff then. So that is the plan. And good night, bro. Not beating ball pit. I beat it yesterday, didn't I? I thought I did. Yeah, I would say so. And yeah, which games would you recommend are under $50? That's good replayability. I don't know. Couldn't this be bad? What if the West just says we're not accepting this and they change it from the source so that they can send it? A sample of this is Shadowverse 2. Well, I'm sure there's going to be some things that are probably over the line, and there are things that are like in certain regions only. But overall, I would expect to see generally people just deal with it. Like most people are able to, like, the entire idea of this being a problem is totally artificial, okay? It's a completely artificial problem. Nobody actually cares about this stuff. It's just people that are bored that are looking for something to get mad about. So whenever I see this, and it's like, okay, yeah, like, oh, wow, people are going to be upset about it. Nah, they don't really care about this at all, man. Like, it's not a big deal in any case. Parent processors aren't refusing anime because it isn't woke enough. What is this here? Isn't woke enough. Well, what is it? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think obviously it's not because it isn't woke. It's just in general, right? I mean, there's different types of media changes and things like that that I think people just don't want to deal with. Watch Bellier's video about Nintendo tomorrow? Yeah, I might, if I remember. I'll probably look at it then. Sure. Why not? I hope Japan uses AI to convert Japanese voice actors to English so it keeps the vibe of the character. Yeah, I think that it would probably, like, if I'm thinking about, like, you know, that, I don't know. I'd have to really think about it. Like, I do think that Japanese voice actors and, you know, making sure that it's true to the character is important. But I think that you're probably going to have the majority of voice acting be done with AI and technology soon, just because it's simply more efficient and it's better. Are you going to play Where Winds Meet? Yeah, I am. They won't? They have protection from AI taking their voice? I don't know what all the rules are. I have no idea. But if they're going to use AI to generate voice lines, that's it. It's not better. I think AI and, like, AI voice lines will become as good as a human's voice lines. I don't really see a universe where that's not the case. I know that a lot of people like to circle jerk about how bad AI is, but personally, I don't really share any of those feelings, and I think that those are people that are looking for social media points. AI is obviously extremely popular. People love AI, and it will be overwhelmingly accepted by the public, and it already is. So to the extent that AI provides a superior product or an equivalent product, AI will overrule and it will outperform, you know, the human alternative. So yeah. UC Berkeley, a woman holds her two daughters as she tries to rush through the screaming crowd of masked Antifa members that are screaming at every attendee who leaves tonight's event. What is this? It was crazy? Uh-huh. There's more footage? Jesus. And where was this? Berkeley. And where was this? Berkeley. Oh boy. Jesus. Think about how much of our tax money we have to put and invest into micromanaging these mentally ill retards every day. Look how much money it is. Isn't that crazy? Why are they wearing masks? It's bad when ICE does it, right? Because they don't want to be identified. That's the reason why. Same reason why ICE wears them. That's why people wear masks, is so they don't get identified. Exactly what I would expect. Uh-huh. Man. How are they not in jail? Well, I mean, to be fair, nobody's doing anything wrong right now.
Peter Thiel's dick, you asshole!
What?
Peter Thiel's dick, you asshole!
What the fuck? Who does this? Jesus. Well, eventually right-wing people will start doing this to left-wing people too. And that's going to be pretty bad. You know, again, these people, they think that they are completely justified in doing this. And whenever this happens, this is literally your viewer. Maybe it was. It sounds like something that I would say, to be fair. They need to call ICE on that crowd? Well, no, these are just random-ass people, right? Can't wait for it. Yeah, it's intimidation with the intent to terrorize is terrorism. They need to be arrested. Well, I don't know about that, but I think that it does say a lot if you need to have police there to protect people, because they would be violent if they had the opportunity to. In my opinion, like, I know this might sound kind of bad, but if I was the people running this, I would just simply let some violence occur, and then I would just arrest everybody that was doing it. That's what I would do. And like, you might say, oh yeah, but somebody might get hurt. Yeah, that's true, but it'll be for a greater good. It'll be for a greater good. Yeah, you got to arrest these people, because the only reason why they're not being violent is because the police are there that are stopping them from doing it, okay? And that's it. That's why we need to be violent back. I agree with you about that. I think that if somebody is violent to you, you have every right to be violent back. You do. You have every right to be violent back. Like, if somebody hits you, you have the right to do whatever you want to them. Nobody should have to live in a world where they're violently abused. It doesn't matter what it is or anything like that. That looks pretty violent. Well, yelling is different than actually touching, right? That's what I would say. Defend yourself. And yeah, it's that simple. It's the same thing happening in Texas. Do you think we're heading towards civil war? No, I don't think so. I think the handful of people that do this is really an underestimation. I think that most people that see this, you know, you have like a couple hundred people that come out for an event and you act like you're going to have a civil war. I don't really think that's the case at all. It's not, it's not even remotely close. Like, a lot of these like really fringe extreme political beliefs, and this goes on both sides, they're quite common, but they're not enough to where it's like, there's going to be an actual war fought over this. And also, really, the difference, we're never going to have another civil war, because the military, unless the military gets divided, the difference between, so whenever you looked at, let me go ahead and explain why we're never going to have another civil war. because the redcoats. Okay, so let's say the red was the British. Okay, and then these are like, let's say, power levels. Okay, yeah, okay. So this is a Revolutionary War, and this is the power level comparative, like the British versus the Americans, right? So the British are stronger, but the Americans still have a reasonable force, okay? You can see that as well. And then you go and you look at, let's say, the Civil War, okay? So the Civil War was about the same thing, where the Union obviously had different federal advantages that the Confederacy did not have, but the Confederacy still had a chance in winning. A civil war now, unless you have the fractured military, it would be like this. It's not even remotely close. The government has powers and weapons and tools and resources that people cannot even dream of. You don't, there's never going to be another civil war. There's never going to be another civil war. You can't fight the military. Yeah, they've got space lasers. They've got satellites that are orbiting the Earth that can figure out where you are. Like, it would be over in like a week, if that. Yeah, everyone has guns, or a man for himself. It doesn't matter. Everybody has guns. Or civil. There's never going to be another civil war. You can't fight the military. Yeah, they've got space lasers. They've got satellites that are orbiting the Earth that can figure out where you are. Like, it would be over in like a week, if that. Yeah, everyone has guns, or a man for himself. It doesn't matter. Everybody has guns. Do you really think that you having a gun is going to stop? Like, what do you think happens when a bunch of armed guys that are trained, and also they're not going to be breaking into a house, just because you have a gun? Like, this doesn't mean that you're going to just somehow fight off, a trained military. You're going to be done, man. It doesn't work like that. Military doesn't shoot people. Of course they do. Absolutely they would. No, if we had a civil war, the military would be shooting people constantly. But do you really think that, oh, well, no, it says that you're not supposed to do that? Yeah, it's a war. What the hell do you expect? Yeah, there'll be factions, of course, if there's a threat. Yeah, exactly. And not citizens, though. I think that if a civil war broke out, the military would be shooting civilians instantaneously. It would not even take a day. It would not even take a day. The moment that you had civilians shooting at the military or doing anything to oppose them, they would start shooting them instantly. That's it. I don't know. Yeah, go stop attack. What are you going to do, right? And they're not going to nuke American cities? Of course not. No, why would they need to use a nuke? Obviously not. So, yeah, I don't know what's wrong with these people. And let's see if I can find a UK Berkeley. I'll see if there's any more videos of this. I don't really think that there's a whole lot more of them. So, yeah, is there any more of these posts here? People crying? Oh, hey, here we go. Okay. Oh, damn. Damn. Look at him. Look at him go. What is he doing? What is he doing? Oh, my God. Look at this guy. Oh, fuck. And terrorism always maintain the status quo in a country would be deemed expendable? Yeah, of course. You're underestimating the power of guerrilla warfare. I think that you're underestimating the power of technology. Oh, geez. Yeah, I mean, again, I think they've got to be on top of these people a lot faster. Stop going full retard? Yeah, they got to be on top. Because the moment that you let this happen... Oh, is this another one? Oh, my God.
Break it up! Break it up! Break it up! Police! Break it up! Police! Break it up! Break it up!
It's going to be crazy whenever people start bringing guns to these things. Because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. People will eventually start bringing knives and guns to these events. And I think that the only places, like, I bet probably this kind of stuff will probably not happen as much in right to carry and concealed carry states. I've just got a feeling that it probably won't happen as often. And I wonder why. How technology help in Afghanistan or Iraq? Well, it helped us stay there for 20 years. years. That way we could maximize the most efficient way for us to sap and steal enough money from the taxpayers to reallocate it to the military industrial complex and the amount of people that were there. Do you really think that we couldn't have won that war in like a year? Fuck no, of course we could have. The reason why it happened is because we didn't try to win. We weren't trying to win the war. We were trying to win the hearts and the minds of the people. You're not going to win the hearts and the minds of the people whenever you're occupying their country. Let's get the fuck out of there. Bomb them and then leave. Vietnam. Yeah, Vietnam total thing. Yeah, it's the same thing in Vietnam. We were trying to help the South Vietnamese fight back against the North Vietnamese. Oh, God. Oh. People do this because they don't go to jail for it. That's the reason why it happens. And I think that really, why are you so against military-industrial complex? Make it sound like such a waste of money. What I understand, it brings USA astronomical earnings. Yeah, we make a lot of money from the military, but we also spend a lot of money on the military, right? It's like a human centipede. And also, it's because, I don't know if I can really show the blood. Yeah. Oh. See, the problem is, like, somebody like this should go to, like, in my opinion, I think you just put a person like this in jail for 10 years. That's it. You just put them in jail for 10 years. And then the problem goes away. And I feel like the reason why this happens is that 15, yeah, sure. I mean, right? I mean, whatever you want to say. He'll be out the same day. Yeah, the reason why this happens is because people like this are able to do it and get away with it. And if they knew that they were going to get shot, if they knew they were going to go to prison, if they knew that they would experience dramatic, serious consequences, they would never even dream of doing something like this. The reason why they do it is because they know that they can get away with it. And I feel like I say this a lot, but really, cooler heads prevail whenever there is a set of authority that holds people to accountability. You'll always have that happen. Yep.
Do you want to tell us what happened?
Oh. Yep, that's what it is. And what found it's us, the dude with the red shirt said something antagonizing or racist to the person, so he pushed back. Well, if you antagonize or you say something racist and then somebody hits you, the person that hits you should go to jail. You don't get to just hit people because they say something that makes you mad. That's not what happens. That's not how it works. Like, that's not the way the world works. Look at them, bro. They're feral. Jesus. Oh. They're wild animals. You pussy? No, I'm not a pussy. I mean, again, if you think that's a good way of doing things, then just expect that whenever somebody feels like it, they're just going to shoot you. The problem with a lot of people that like the idea of violence don't understand violence. So I do. I've seen a lot of it secondhand. And I've seen some of it first. I've seen the effects of it firsthand. My dad had to live his entire life on painkillers because he got in fights. He couldn't move his neck in certain ways. He had all kinds of different issues. He was constantly in pain for his whole life. And also, like, I went to a school where people ended up, like getting killed. Whenever, like, let's say you get in a fight, right? You get in a fight with somebody, it's like one-on-one. You get in a fight. Well, then that person is going to come back with their friends, and then they're going to really beat you up. And then what happens after that? Well, then the next time that person and his friends pull up, you bring a gun, and then you shoot them, and then they die. That's what happens. So the problem with violence is that it has a propensity to escalate very, very quickly. And even if you win the war, even if you win the battle, you might not necessarily win the war. And so that's what happens. And classic escalation, yeah, it's called getting back. Exactly. And it just keeps escalating. And check him out his message. I don't want to look at it. And protesting an event for a guy that got killed by violence from their side, I would expect physical response. Remember the emotions Charlie Kirk got murdered? The right was on the verge of returning in the same way? Yeah, and I think that's what happened. The people cheered when Charlie died? Well, they would. But what I'm saying is that The reason why this is allowed to happen is because the violence is very one-sided. The moment that you actually let people start fighting, you're going to see everybody that's freaking out. Like, if you actually let these people fight each other, it would be absolute chaos and people would be terrified because you'd see people dying constantly. It would be horrible. And the point that I'm making is that when you allow violence and you allow like a big group of people to be aggressive and to, you know, push this aggression onto other people, what you're doing is you're beginning that cycle of violence. And whenever you begin that cycle of violence, the conclusion of it is death. That is the conclusion, because somebody will eventually bring a gun, somebody will eventually use a weapon, and somebody will eventually die. And then after that happens, now it's just trading that back and forth. So they're so aggressive. Yes, they are. And that's what happens. So you never, ever, ever want to have anything turn violent, because as soon as things turn violent, people die. It's that simple. You don't even need to bring a gun? Well, I don't know. They get so emotionally offended when they lose a fight, use guns later. That's definitely a go to a mental institute. No, it's not. Why? I mean, like, and here's the mindset, right? So somebody beats you up with their friends. Why wouldn't you want to kill them? Really? Why, like, let's say you're a psychopath. Why wouldn't you want to just go kill that person? If you thought that you could get away with it, why wouldn't you just go kill them? That's the way that we've done things for thousands of years. What do you think happened for the last 5,000 years? What, like, are you guys crazy? Yeah, because you won't get away with it. Exactly. That's my whole point. That's the reason why you need to have accountability. The reason why they don't do it is because there is a tremendous and extreme consequence. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, this is just what it is. People did for far less. Exactly. Yeah, you don't need to be a psycho to want that. Sure, people live in a bubble. They forget how bad it could get. Yes, it's just people are so delusional. It's sad. It really is. I think that people live in such a padded world that they don't realize how fast it can turn bad. It'll take no time at all. Mm-hmm. Oh. Look what happened with ISIS? Yeah, they don't understand how bad it would have been? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah,